Kerry Von Erich, the all-American boy with a dark secret. Kerry racked up more titles than his family had tragedies, and boy, that's saying a lot. He was a one-time NWA Worlds Heavyweight Champion, four-time WCWA World Heavyweight Champion, and even snagged the WWF Intercontinental Championship as the Texas Tornado. But let's be honest, his most impressive feat was keeping his prosthetic foot a secret from the WWF. Sadly, on February 18, 1993, Kerry decided to join the family tradition of early exits. He shot himself in the heart on his daddy's ranch. I guess he figured, why wait for the family curse when you can pull the trigger yourself? Speaking of heavyweights with heavy hearts, let's talk about a man who proved that elephants can fly. Big Van Vader, the human wrecking ball who could defy gravity despite weighing over 400 pounds. This wrestler captured the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the WCW World Heavyweight Championship 3 times each. Vader's aerial assaults were so impressive, his diving moonsault was voted best wrestling maneuver in 1993. Like I mentioned before, elephants really can fly. On June 18, 2018, Vader's heart threw in the towel after 63 years of overtime. Seems like his ticker finally said, "It's time! It's time! It's time to clock out." Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Born on February 8, 1955, Jim the Anvil Neidhart could have been mistaken for a sentient beard with arms. He was a two-time WWE Tag Team Champion who perfected the art of dropping both anvils and jaws. But on August 13, 2018, Neidhart took his final tumble at home. After years of choreographed falls, it was a simple slip that pinned him for the 3 count. He fell, hit his head, and checked out for good. I guess you could say he finally dropped the anvil on himself. At least he went down swinging, or seizing in this case. Now, while we're still on the subject of high flyers with hard landings, Dynamite Kid exploded onto the scene, reforming high-flying wrestling with moves that made gravity look optional. He won tag team gold in both WWE and Japan, and he inspired a generation of wrestlers to disregard their spinal columns. But on December 5, 2018, his 60th birthday, the Kid's fuse finally fizzled out. After a lifetime of death-defying stunts, he died from a stroke. Scott Hall. This wrestler, known as Razor Raymond, was a 4-time Intercontinental Champion and founding member of the NWO. Known for his "Hey Yo" catchphrase and his habit of flicking toothpicks at mere mortals, Hall redefined cool in the squared circle. But in 2022, Hall's hip surgery went about as smoothly as his ladder match landings. His final "Hey Yo" was more of a "Hey No," and he died due to multiple heart attacks caused by complications in the surgery. Big John Studd. The 6'10" giant with a name that sounded like a 1970s adult film star was more than just a pretty mustache. This Vietnam vet turned wrestler body-slammed his way through the 70s and 80s, collecting championships like they were on clearance. Studd's list of accolades reads like a wrestling alphabet soup. NWA American Heavyweight Champion, NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champion, and even the 1989 Royal Rumble winner. But in 1995, at the age of 47, Big John decided to take on his toughest opponents yet, Hodgkin's disease and liver cancer. Studd finally met an opponent he couldn't body slam, pin, or throw over the top rope. Your biggest enemy really is yourself, or in Studd's case, his own mutating DNA. Earthquake. An earthquake is the shaking of the Earth's surface caused by a sudden release of energy within. Oh wait, that's the wrong earthquake. John Tenta, better known as Earthquake, was a man so massive he made the ring tremble before he even touched it. This 6'7", 468-pound wrestler started as a sumo wrestler in Japan before deciding to shrink his wardrobe and join the WWF. Earthquake shook things up by feuding with Hulk Hogan and winning the Tag Team Championship as part of the Natural Disasters. In 2006, Earthquake's final tremor came when he succumbed to bladder cancer. He may have flattened countless opponents in the ring, but in the end, it was cancer that pancaked him. At least he doesn't have to worry about those tiny airplane bathrooms anymore. Eddie Graham. Born Edward F. Gossett, he was a one-eyed wonder in the world of professional wrestling. This newspaper-hawking, egg-selling boy from Tennessee hatched quite the career, becoming one half of a dastardly tag team with his brother, Dr. Jerry Graham. Eddie wasn't just content with being a star in the ring, he took over championship wrestling from Florida in 1971. As NWA president from 1976 to 1978, he had the wrestling world in a headlock. But on January 21, 1985, Eddie decided to book himself for the ultimate squash match. He went out by his own hand in Tampa, Florida. Maybe he wanted to be remembered as a man who always called his own shots right up to the very end. Roddy Piper. This kilt-wearing, bagpipe-blowing wild man from Canada was wrestling's original loudmouth. This hot rod revved up WWF and WCW from 1984 to 2000, headlining WrestleMania and Starrcade like it was his day job. Which, well, it was. Piper's sharp tongue on Piper's Pit started more fires than a pyromaniac in a match factory. He even found time to chew bubblegum and kick ass in Hollywood, starring in They Live and showing up on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as a wrestler even crazier than he was in real life. Sadly, on July 31, 2015, Piper's heart decided to check out. Hypertension and a pulmonary embolism tag-teamed the Hot Rod. I guess even his ticker couldn't handle one more Piper's Pit. Yes, Piper's heart tapped out. But our next wrestler took a more hands-on approach to his final bow. Brian Christopher Lawler, a.k.a. Grandmaster Sexay. He was the son of wrestling royalty Jerry the King Lawler. This too-cool cat snagged the WWF Tag Team Championship and 44 titles in the USWA. Later, he became YouTube royalty with his slot machine channel, racking up hundreds of millions of views. But on July 29, 2018, Brian's luck ran out. He cashed out his final chip in a jail cell, hanging himself after a DUI arrest. Even the Grand Master of Sexy couldn't charm his way out of that one. Bam Bigelow. The 400-pound acrobat with a flaming skull dominated wrestling rings from 1985 to 2006. This bald dude defied physics, executing moonsaults that could have triggered seismic events. Bigelow held several championships, including the ECW World Heavyweight Championship, the ECW World Television Championship, the IWGP Tag Team Championship, the WAR World Six-Man Tag Team Championship, and the WCW World Tag Team Championship. He headlined 7 pay-per-view events, including the first Survivor Series in 1987, King of the Ring in 1993 and 1995, and WrestleMania 11 in 1995. However, on January 19, 2007, he tapped out to a lethal cocktail of cocaine and benzodiazepines. His death highlighted the dark underbelly of wrestling, where the real battles often happen outside the ring. Ultimate Warrior. James Bryan Hellwig, aka the Ultimate Warrior, was a walking seizure in neon spandex, and he terrorized WWF rings and English grammar from 1987 to 1992. This bicep-fueled lunatic somehow pinned Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Demonstrating that enough cocaine can indeed move mountains. His career was a glorious train wreck of roid rage and incoherent promos. On April 8, 2014, days after his Hall of Fame induction, Warrior's heart decided to kick out at 2. His final Raw appearance became an accidental stand-up routine about his own demise. Junkyard Dog. The chain-dragging, queen-loving bulldozer of Mid-South Wrestling head-butted racial barriers as the first black wrestler to rule his promotion. This walking tetanus risk could slam giants and pulverize skulls while dressed like a post-apocalyptic disco dancer. However, on June 1, 1998, JYD's car wanted to show JYD its cool moves and decided to body slam a tree, unfortunately sending him to the great scrapyard beyond. As if road accidents aren't upsetting enough, our next high flyer took his final bow in mid-air. Owen Hart. Born on May 7, 1965, Owen Hart, the mischievous prodigy of the Hart family, flipped and quipped his way through wrestling rings worldwide. In the WWF, he held multiple championships, including 2 reigns as WWF Intercontinental Champion, 1 as WWF European Champion, and 4 as WWF World Tag Team Champion. In 1994, he clinched the title of WWF King of the Ring. At the age of 34, during a stunt that seemed destined for disaster, Owen's harness malfunctioned. He plummeted from the rafters of Kemper Arena, transforming a wrestling show into a tragic spectacle. His final act was an unplanned swan dive into eternity, leaving fans to ponder whether the King of Hearts had drawn life's Joker from the deck. Test. Andrew Martin, commonly known as Test, had a chin that could crack walnuts. He was on WWF rings from 1998 to 2007. To prove he was more than just a pretty face and 250 pounds of muscle, Test got the Intercontinental and European titles. He even managed to win Tag Team Gold twice with Booker T, a feat as unlikely as finding teeth in a hen's mouth. On March 13, 2009, 4 days shy of his 34th birthday, Test tapped out due to the ultimate submission hold, an accidental overdose. See, not all tests in life are passed, especially those involving prescription meds. Viscera. Nelson Frazier Jr., nicknamed Viscera, was a flesh avalanche who somehow won King of the Ring '95, proving that WWE's wellness policy was more of a suggestion. He grabbed Tag Team Gold and the Hardcore title, probably by just sitting on them. On February 18, 2014, at the age of 43, Viscera's heart tapped out, unable to bear the weight of his own legend. His heart realized it had been fighting a losing battle against gravity and buffets for years. Chris Candido. The bleach blonde boy wonder started wrestling before his voice dropped. This American wrestling prodigy trained under Larry Sharp at the Monster Factory from a tender age of 14, making him an early mark on the wrestling scene. Some of his achievements? SMW US Junior Heavyweight Champ, ECW World Tag Team Champ, and NWA World Heavyweight Champ. He even graced WWF as Skip. Tragically, Candido's wrestling career met its final pinfall due to acute pneumonia after surgery. He was 33. Randy Savage. Born on November 15, 1952, Randy Macho Man Savage elbow dropped his way into wrestling history. This 2-time WWF World Heavyweight Champion and 4-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion had drawing power that made Hulk Hogan sweat through his bandana. Savage's intensity in the ring was matched only by the intensity of his wardrobe choices. He headlined WrestleManias and was crowned the 1987 WWF King of the Ring. But on May 20th, 2011, the Macho Man's heart decided to cash in on its last paycheck. Savage suffered a heart attack while driving in Florida. His final elbow drop was on his steering wheel. Snap into a Slim Jim? More like snapped into the afterlife. Our next perfectionist had a not-so-perfect ending. Let's welcome Mr. Perfect. Kurt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect, was wrestling's answer to Mary Poppins. Practically perfect in every way. This wrestler held the AWA World Heavyweight Championship for 373 days and snagged the WWF Intercontinental Championship twice. He even made country rap a thing with "Rap is crap." Who knew? Sadly, on February 10, 2003, Mr. Perfect's body decided it wasn't so perfect at all. Found dead in his Tampa hotel room at 44, Hennig's cause of death was acute cocaine intoxication. Turns out, his finishing move was a little too finishing. These wrestlers were more than just their final moments. They were larger-than-life characters who captivated millions, defied gravity, and pushed the boundaries of entertainment. While their exits from this world were often as dramatic as their ring entrances, it's their remarkable lives, not their deaths, that truly define them. They lived fast, loved fiercely, and gave us moments we'll never forget. Until next time, keep practicing those elbow drops on your pillows, not your steering wheels. Oh, and a friendly reminder, if you're thinking of trying any of those deadly finishers at home, Don't. We've got enough material for a sequel already.